We're here to talk today about one of the products that came in my October Boxycharm box, and that is this little mini palette trio from IBY Beauty that's called Three's Company. And it is a little palette that comes with 3 colors and a big mirror, as well as a little dual-sided foam brush that I have taken out. And in this palette you get 2 shimmery shades, a gold and a white creamy shade, and then 1 matte cocoa brown shade. I have this on my eyes right now. It's not the best look ever, but it is what I've been playing around with, and I want to try something a little bit different for the video today. What we are going to do is talk a bit about this palette. We're going to talk a little bit about IBY Beauty because I bet you have not heard of them before in the same way that I have not heard of them before. We'll talk a little bit about the company, about the product, and I'm going to show you some swatches with this. I'm going to talk about the eye look that I did here, and we're just going to play around a little bit. So let's get started. When I first received this in my Boxycharm box, I wasn't sure how to pronounce this. IBY Beauty, IBY Beauty. I had never really heard of this before. I was pretty impressed, especially with the middle shade there when I did some swatching with it. But I was looking at it and wanted to learn a bit more. The little palette came packaged very nicely in this little box, and this says that it's the Three's Company Trio Eyeshadow Palette. It lets you know that there are a total of 3 pans with 0.04 ounces or 1.2 grams of product. And it does tell you on the back the ingredients in it, as well as the location of IBY Beauty and where it was made. So I will tell you, in this little palette, the second ingredient here is talc. So if you have a sensitivity to talc, or if you don't like to use it, you should know that it is in here. IBY Beauty, there is not a lot of information out there on them, and I think it's because, I could be wildly wrong here, but just in the research that I'm doing, I think it's because they are very new. So if you actually go to the IBY Beauty website, there is a whole line of cosmetics there. There are BB creams, concealers, there's eyeshadows, there are different kinds of lipsticks and lip glosses. I believe there is blush in there, if I'm not mistaken. There's mascaras and brow products, and there's brushes. And there's not a lot of information about the company itself. The About Us just basically says that IBY Beauty stands for Inspired by You, and that they are inspired by their customer and they want it to be a go-to place for beauty products and tutorials and step-by-step tutorials and things like that, but there actually are not any tutorials on the website. The website is very nicely laid out, but it tells you nothing about when it was founded, where it's located, who owns it, who runs it, why it was started, nothing like that. In a little bit of digging, what I was able to find is that they, as far as I can tell, got their copyright and trademark and everything in 2016, which means it would be a very, very new brand. Their Instagram account that they point you towards, their first post seemed to be just in September. So from everything that I can see, and there's not a lot out there to find out about, it looks like the company is really less than a year old. And when you look for reviews of the products, most of the product reviews are on the trio that was in the Boxycharm box. The company does appear to be out of California. When you go to the website and when you look on this palette, you can see that the actual products are made in a number of different places. So I noticed that their individual eyeshadows are made in Canada. A lot of the products are made in the US, and some of the products are made in China, including this one. If you look at it, you'll see it says that it is made in PRC. PRC stands for the People's Republic of China. So I don't have any issue necessarily using products that are made in China. There is a lot of stuff that is made in China. I know some people have issues with products that are sold in China because in order for products to be able to be sold in China, or cosmetics to be able to be sold in China, the Chinese government requires that they do testing on animals. So if there is a brand or product that is sold in China, it means it is not cruelty-free. But and I admit that my knowledge is lacking a little bit here, I believe that products that are made in China but sold in the US or sold in Canada or anywhere else and not sold in China means that they are and can still be cruelty-free. It's a little bit confusing. I have no problem with this being made in China, but if that is something you are concerned about, you should know that. What I also found interesting was some of the pricing structures. So this on the website was $19. This is a $19 value, this little palette, and they had 3 other palettes that were also the same size, same layout and everything, more classic or more smoky. They're all have similar ingredient listings in it. The individual eyeshadows, which are only slightly more in volume than this is, come in individual single compacts with a mirror in it. They are $16 for one shade versus $19 for a trio. But the individual shades are made with different ingredients. They actually do not have talc in it, and they are made in Canada. So there does seem to be variation between the products. That is as much as I was able to find out about IBY Beauty, and I wanted to present that to you. Let us get on to swatching. I'm going to do the swatches on the back of my hand. I'm freckly, so you'll get sort of a look at what it looks like with a number of different skin tones with my freckles and my regular skin. We are going to start with our swatches with this color over here, the creamy, sparkly, shimmery white color. And I will show you. The top swatch here was done with dipping my finger in and really going back and forth to get the most color payout that I could. This one underneath that's a little bit harder to see is with the brush swatch, and I did find that if I wanted this to show up, I really had to go in with a brush and kind of pack it on a little bit. And then this one underneath is done with a brush that has been wet with Fix Plus. So you can see that the finger swatch really does the most justice. It's not sparkly, it's more has a pretty sheen to it. So I think it's a very pretty color. You just have to work out how to work with it. The next shade we're going to look at is this cocoa brown matte color, because I'm going to leave this really pigmented gold color for last. I did not do this one with the Fix Plus. This is the color if I'm using my finger to really pack it on there, and this is with one swipe of a brush. What I do find with this color is you really can build it up. It blends pretty nicely and you can sort of layer it to get darker. What I try to do with this eye look here is use this color over most of my lid and just darken the outer corners by layering it up and then pulling it into the inside of my lid. So I think this is quite a nice color as well. And finally, are you ready for this gold color? This is, I think, the really standout one of this palette. So this is the finger swatch with really packing it on there. This is the brush swatch, which you can see is also good, and that was just one dip into the pan and moving the brush back and forth. So I believe you could build that up a bit more with the brush. And then this one down here at the bottom is the MAC Fix Plus. And you'll see that's very similar, and that was just one dip into the pan as well. I find this to be really smooth, and again, it's not chunky with glitter, it is a sheen of color. It really is very metallic-y gold looking and is a really pretty color. So you may be looking at my lids and thinking, I don't want to do that. I get it. I am not the best. I am learning about eyeshadow colors and how to blend and how to do all of that properly, but I will tell you what I did with this look. First, I will zoom you in to show you a little bit closer up, and then I will tell you what I did. This looks patchy, but that is not the fault of the eyeshadow, that is the fault of the user. I used that matte brown shade to sweep all over the lid, bringing it into the inner corner. Darkening it up a little bit on the outside corner. It does layer up really nicely, and then I also dragged it under my lower lash line here to give more of a halo effect. I used the white color, white cream, to highlight my brow bone and blend that a little bit in. And then I took the gold color and used that as a liner I know why my lids don't look that great. I have not put on any mascara yet. I don't know how I managed to miss that step. And I also brought the gold underneath and used some of the white to highlight my inner corners. I'll finish off this video with a full glam look for me, which is a lot of sparkle. I went back in and used the gold shimmer shade all over my eyelid. Really tried to bring it up a little bit to cheat my eyelid a little bit bigger. I still use that brown shade as my crease shade, but then I also took the cream white color and used it more on the inside of the lid to try to blend it into the gold sheen color. I brought the gold color underneath, I brought the white color into my inner corners again, and then I tried to do a wing, which did not line up between my two eyes. For that I used the ICO eyeliner that I will put a link to my review of that down below, and then layered on some black mascara. I'll zoom you in to take a closer look. That's all for today, guys. I am going to play around with this palette more. I don't think it is quite enough colors for me to do a proper full look because I find that that brown is just a little bit too dark for me to use. I mean, I can blend and that kind of thing, but I would have liked a slightly lighter transition shade. They really do add nicely into your collection. That's it for today, guys. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you also received this trio and you liked it or didn't like it, tell me about that below. If you have tried anything else from IBY Beauty, let me know about it. I would love to hear. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. And I will see you in my next video. Thanks so much. Bye.